everyone, and welcome to the Danny Grieves Show. This is Scott Kirker, along with Colton Kaler and the Redbird head coach, Mr. Danny Grieves. Coach, the last time we got together was the Sunday before Wheaton St. Francis, that Sunday afternoon. We were getting ready to play a pretty important super sectional ball game. Second time you've been in it, second time the school's been that far. You got to go to a very familiar place. You probably safe to say you have the second most wins in that Ottawa gym, next to the Ottawa coach, maybe?
Correct.
I think we have 36 wins there now.
That was the 39th game. We had 39 games. We were 34-5 going in for that night.
So you're 35-5 there in that gym.
Right.
Great atmosphere on Monday night, and you packed that house.
It was a packed house. Our students came in busloads. Our fans came with in mini buses. So I mean, it was a lot of fun. I've always had really good following, but here on our run, man, the fans were fantastic.
Yeah, it was exciting.
Now, typically, super sectionals, they're played in college gyms. What was it like to have a super sectional in a high school gym, but relatively a smaller high school gym?
Well, it was kind of nice because they didn't have to mess up on which line was the three-point shot, but. It was a little bit cozy in there. As a matter of fact, you go to a big college arena and you have 6,000 or 7,000 people and it seats 12. You don't have that same kind of feeling. So it was actually kind of nice.
Is it something that you'd like to see back at Ottawa, possibly, or another high school gym in the future?
Well, I love that gym to begin with, and I could see us doing that at another high school gym.
Coach, the thing that I liked about it is we've gone up to what, 9 years?
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
And I always thought Ottawa ran as good a tournament as a high school could run a tournament.
Best food of anywhere we go.
Best food
of
any tournament.
Right.
But the game was barely over with, and here came their two custodians out to cut down the nets for you.
Right.
You had your nets before you got your trophy.
We still only have one net from the regional and one net from the sectional. And I put text messages out there that they want my nets. But not only that, but they were just so kind in how they delivered everything from when the time we walked in the place. And the warm-up song was perfect, man.
Yeah.
It was Sweet Georgia Brown.
Sweet Georgia Brown. And
Yeah.
I don't know how strings you were able to pull, but
Right.
yeah, that was pretty nice. It felt like
Very
you were
nice.
playing at home with our crowd there and
Sure did.
everything. And that, like you say, that gym's always cozy anyway. And then when you pack it with your fans, an hour and a half, about an hour away,
Right.
that had to feel like a home game.
I'll tell you what, I looked on our side and I didn't see any open seats.
Yeah.
You looked down there where the kids were and all the students, and it was packed. You couldn't get any more on there.
Yeah.
The feeling that, it was definitely a six-man feeling, and our kids could feel the energy.
Now, you look at Wheaton St. Francis, and typically between Metamora and Wheaton St. Francis, it's a good football game there.
Right.
But you didn't even know about the whole rivalry in the 2008 state championship game before we kind of told you, right?
Right. I had no idea.
Now, just kind of going into that, you get kind of the story all along is even into the state championship game. It's a good football game, but it was a great basketball game as well.
Right. Well, I tell you what, both those games were amazing, and the level of play was really playoff-ish. I mean, you think about every dribble and every touch. There was a major screaming and howling going on, and I tell you what, our kids did a great job under that kind of pressure, and those games were not too big for our kids.
What's that say about the athletes and the kids, not only at our school but at other schools as well, that are just able to compete and put on such a good basketball game?
Well, I tell you what, our guys work year round and work at their game so often that they don't take breaks, and then all of a sudden it's a big game every day. They work so hard every day, and practices we try to make them harder than the games are, and so our kids are used to that kind of grind year round.
You were finally able to get over kind of the hump, if you will, getting into the state tournament first time here at Metamora. Was there a little bit of sense of relief after that super sectional win, or did you still, obviously, there were still games to play, but was there a sense of relief after that?
There's no doubt, to get to that point. And, in 2018, you thought you got there and they kind of stole it from us. And so there was a little animosity from the just the whole feeling of that game. So, once the horn went off and I looked around to see if it was really going to, And some guy going to come from the other side. No, hold on, let's add some time. But it was a great feeling. You know, our kids could feel it, our community could feel it, and our students sure could.
You know, in the Wheaton St. Francis game, talk a little bit about that game. You know, you came out, your team this year was, they would come out like a boxer, I always thought. They came out and spent the first round, your case, the first quarter, kind of feeling the other team out to see what they could do and what they couldn't do. Your second and third quarters, I think Colton added it up. I think we outscored them in the second quarter by what, close to 100 points?
The second half, we had outscored our opponents by close to 200 points, and in the third quarter alone, you were about a 160 plus.
I tell you what, down the stretch, you know, our kids had third quarters that, you know, you just dream of as a coach. But, you know, they failed them out the whole first half. We make a couple adjustments, and, you know, and you can make adjustments or tell the kids about adjustments, but they have to do it. And they were tremendous at that. And I tell you what, every game down the stretch, the last probably 9, we owned the third quarter.
You, in that game, you know, I think you were down 6 points at the end of the first quarter. It never felt like, though, that you were going to have problems coming back. I thought in the second quarter when you were able to take the lead and eventually went in, I think tied 21-21 at halftime. I thought myself, and I think Colton made the comment too, that, you know, we didn't play real well that first half.
Did not.
They played awfully well, and it was tied. And that boded a pretty good feeling about that second half.
Well, it hurt us a little bit on their points in the paint, points off of turnovers. Mm-hmm. You know, on those things, 4 different categories, they won every one of them. Mm-hmm. But, you know, our kids had a lot of grit. And, you know, when you try to make shots and you can't, and then you don't get many offensive rebounds, but your defense has gotten beat up a little bit. You just hang in there, and that's exactly what it was. We just tried to hang around and try to be in it to win it, but in the last 4 minutes, and those kids did a great job every game down the stretch.
I thought that in that second half, when you guys kind of went on a run, I think you guys came out and scored, I think, 11 of the first 13 points in the second half, and I think it was every player on the floor for you scored. You know, it wasn't like Zach Schroeder went off for 11 of those points. Everybody contributed.
Well, we tried to talk about, you know, good, better, or best, the 3 type of shots that we want to take. And our kids were getting some really great shots. They gave up some good shots to get those. And so, you know, but when you have great chemistry like our kids did, especially down the stretch, you know, they were so unselfish that, you know, we made a lot of shots, but they were, you know, we led every team that we played in assists, you know, and so it's a great combination to have, unselfish kids and kids that can make shots. They make me a much better coach.
In a gym like that with, you know, as many people as it's in there, it's just really a gym that kind of echoes a little bit.
Right.
There were some big plays, you know, down the stretch of that second half, you know, the Ethan Kaiser oop. I think we peaked at 125 decibels at that point.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, how hard is it to coach in such a loud environment?
Well, we practice that way. We'll turn up the volume and have crowd noise in practice. And so we have a lot of hand gestures. And the kids pick up on that. And, you know, the more that you can get them to talk on the court just by showing a quick flash of something, the better off you're going to be. And so we've, you know, Justin Dame is in charge of all that stuff, and he does a great job with it. You know, and you know, a lot of times they didn't know what we were running, but our kids knew it immediately. Now, I will tell you this, St. Francis was a very well-coached team. You know, you look down there and they're running stuff, and everything they call, we call out where it's going. And we call out something, and they even see it, and they call it out. But it came down to making plays at the end, and our kids made better plays. We just, you know, they had more grit, and I think they were just tougher.
What is it like, you know, as a coach to see those big plays and then to hear the reaction from the crowd that way?
Oh, man. It makes the hair on the back of your neck straight up, man. It was really cool to get those kind of chills, and our kids feed off of that.
Now, I want to transition to, you know, you get to the Final Four, and, you know, a lot of people would, you know, probably, you know, a lot of people did, besides Adam Duvall, your guy,
right.
You know, wrote you off a little bit. But you guys said all along, as soon as, you know, you got done with that game on Monday night, that you're not here just to be here. You're here to win a ball game.
Right. I told him we're in it to win it, you know, and our kids believe that. You know, it's really kind of cool to be able to play the #1 team in the state, especially in situation in the semifinals. But you know, with our schedule all year long and our preparation the way it goes, you know, there was no fear. You know, we said all along our kids thought they were hunters, not the hunted, and that's exactly what happened in the semis.
Now I saw you down there on Thursday night before, you know, the Friday game, watching the third and fourth place games finish up for 1 and 2A.
Right.
And I talked to you, and you said these boys have no idea what's coming tomorrow.
They didn't.
And it really proved to be true.
Right. But our kids, you know, you start with a dream, and you say, okay, you got to believe. And the whole 11 years I've been here, I said that's what we're going to do. It took a while to get everybody on board, but you know, when you have that idea, and then you know, we have different sayings all year long. You know, trust the process. You know, and we have a great process. It's not something I made up. I stole it from everybody. You know, steal it from the best, and you might be the best. And then you know, you have kids that buy in like they have, and you know, their parents have done a great job of allowing them to do that. You know, we talk about working year round, and our kids do, even the ones that are in other sports, so they get to do those sports and ours. And we didn't have that when I first got here, and it was truly just a dream. So, but our kids made it happen just because, you know, the hard work and the grind. Credit goes always to them.
Coach, you know, when you got down to Champaign and the crowd started to file in, and you look out there and you see the #1 ranked team in the state, the team that's won, what, 9 state titles?
They won quite a few, I'm not sure exactly.
I think they've won 9. And you look in here you are, you're Metamora. You've never been this far in a state tournament for basketball.
Right.
And you're thinking to yourself, you know, how can we compete? But, you know, when you look at what you did this year, you went out and you scheduled Lindblom, Bradley Bourbonnais, you know, you played East St. Louis, you played Rock Island twice, you played Normal West, you played U-High, you played your schedule, you could put it against anybody in the state. And I'm thinking to myself,
Bloomington, Manual, I mean.
Yeah, you played those teams. It prepared you for that day, that Friday morning. That's why you played that schedule, to play the Simeons.
Right.
And you weren't not. Your kids took it to a. People kept saying, "How is Metamora going to be able to score against that defense?" You took it right at them.
Well, my question was, how are they going to stop us? You know, and that's exactly how I put it to them. I said, you know, we got too many weapons. Guys can go off the bounce and, you know, spot up. And but I also thought that we would do a better job of taking away what they do instead of them taking away from what we did. And you know, they have some really good set plays, and we just picked them apart and had a great game plan against that. You know, a couple of times we had double switches going on, but you got to talk through that, and we were so well prepared. Anything they did, we were ready for. And we kept the big guy, you know, this their leading scorer. You know, he was 2 for 4 from the field, a total of 4 points.
Well, they're 3 big
5
guys.
rebounds.
Yeah, they had 6'9", 6'8", and 6'6".
Yeah.
And you out rebounded them.
Yeah, we did.
And you know, they didn't. I thought that first time down the court they went inside. I thought, oh boy, you know, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a real problem. But that was about it for them inside the paint.
And anytime you can get a team from Chicago, especially a team like Simeon, to go zone on you because they're having a hard time stopping you, that's a feather in your cap, because that's not what they do.
Right.
And then we cut up a little bit in that, and they had to go back to man. And you know, we were just doing what we do, you know, taking good shots, you know, and we got a lot of rebound putbacks, and you know, because they had their bigs out on the perimeter guarding us. When you got 5 guys who can all shoot it, it's kind of nice. You got to guard.
Yeah, you got to guard them the full half court,
right.
And that's tough to do. You come away with the big win, the 47 win, and you know, what a
that last shot. Did you think it was going in?
Well, I had a pretty good angle.
No, I had a terrible angle going, oh no. But when I saw Zach going up to get it, I knew that he was.
Airball.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was up in the press room, and so I wasn't able to catch the end of the game. But you know, it was. You know, my nerves were all over the place on that game there. You know, you come in against you know, arguably Goliath. You know, you can look at them that way, and kind of the ability to take a punch, but you give a punch. And really, what I noticed in that game, especially in the second half, you'd run a play where
Right.
Tyson would slip, and you ran it about 4 straight times, and
Right.
they never caught on. I mean, just the ability for your guys to just continually to do what works.
We sat on that play for a while, and we knew we needed it, a couple different things in the fourth quarter. Ran back to back, and that really kind of broke their back a little bit. It hurt their feelings to be able to score that easily with nobody around them, you know. So that was kind of nice. But you know, the execution of our kids down the stretch was amazing that night, and of course Swanson steps up and hits those 2 free throws.
You think Metamora, your program, has gained a lot of respect from all over the state, and you know, probably around the state as well, you know, for what you guys did this year?
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, we went from a 10 seed at a Christmas tournament to the 10th seed in 3A, and made it to the championship game and got beaten double overtime on a luck shot. So, you know, just by the number of phone calls that I've gotten trying to schedule us in big events, obviously they think that, you know, the program's taken the next leap. And of course, you know, in the last 11 years we've averaged over 20 games a season win-wise, and I think that's usually the benchmark of a good program. And so our kids are, you know, they feel that, you know, a lot of times we've been disrespected, you know. Swanson, you know, how many times can they mispronounce his name, you know? So we just start calling him Billy.
How do you he was Tyler, he was...
He was mostly Tyler.
Yeah, and Tyler, it's Tyson, and then I saw, where were we at where they mispronounced his last, it was down in State Farm Center, they mispronounced his last name. Yeah. It's Swanson. That's not a difficult name to...
No.
Poor guy, he just goes out and scores 20 points a game for you.
Pretty good hand. You know, but,
Yeah.
but, you know, going back to your question, yeah, I think, you know, the state has gone ahead and given us some props for our season and how the style we play and the things that we do in order to get there.
I mean, just talk about, you know, your team's ability to never waver from the situation. I mean, you start out 0-3, you know, to start the year, and things can go one of 2 ways, especially after a tough start. It can go really bad, or you can turn it around. And
or
say,
even
hey,
worse.
Right.
I've had that before too.
Exactly. And so, you know, you win that 4th game there against, you know, a good Kankakee team, even though they were shorthanded.
Right.
And then you don't lose for a while until you get to, I believe, the holiday tournament. You know, you lose to 2 very good teams there again.
Sure did.
And then you get that final loss at Washington. And what was it that changed after that game?
Well, we finally got most of the folks not in quarantine and not losing 12 pounds, and we had 3 different kids in boots, you know, and the residual effect from what that is, you know, there's plenty of kids that got in to get minutes. And so, you know, down the stretch and even mid-season, when we'd have problems with the kid in foul trouble or re-injured or whatever it might be, we had kids coming in that played valuable minutes early on and had that ability to come in and be able to play because they had those minutes. And so, you know, you take a look, we've had probably 9 or 10 guys make winning shots or shots that help decide the winning shot. And so, you know, we've had some tremendous kids come in and do a lot of great things.
Coach, you beat Simeon, and then you go to play a game that few outside of Metamora thought they would ever see.
Right.
Metamora in a state basketball championship game. what an accomplishment. And you play a team, Sacred Heart Griffin. We've had our battles with them.
Right.
But some people are saying that might be one of the best large school championship games ever played.
Well, I think it's one of the worst. But I understand what you're saying. It was a tremendous game, you know, and we led most of that game. We led 24 minutes of that game. What was it, 40-minute game? But I will tell you this, you know, in that game, when you think about it, it was the first game back into Champaign, in 27 years. It was the biggest crowd in the last 17 years from what they told me. And it was kind of cool to be in front of that kind of a crowd. You know, the 4A team that's going to win it is amazing. And so there was a ton of basketball fans in there, and it was kind of cool. The fans that were neutral, from what I gathered, and people told me, and you could just hear by the crowd, started pulling for us. But it goes back to the style of my kids play, and you know how great they are at putting on a show. You know, they gave it everything they had, and that's all you can ask as a coach.
I thought that it was just a tremendous basketball game, and like you said before, it was a horrible way to lose it on
Right.
kind of a luck shot. But and we'll get to your seniors here in a few minutes. But I thought you said it in I think one of the newspapers when they asked you, your kids gave it all they had.
Right.
They couldn't have given you any more. You were proud of them, and
They had nothing left.
they had nothing left, and that's all you can ask for as a
Right.
coach. You can't ask. Winning is hard, and there was a couple times you probably thought we got this. This is our game, and circumstances and whatever else kind of went the other way. But man, when you play that well and lose, you still got to be proud of them.
Well, there's no doubt, and we only played one senior, and so we've got a lot coming back. But those kids all year long showed such great resilience, with the injuries and just, now you got to wear a mask, now you don't. And it was kind of a, here's what I told them, we can only get upset on the things that we can control, all right? And we're going to live in the minute and the moment every day. If we're at a practice on Tuesday getting ready for a Friday game, we're not talking about Friday, we're talking about Tuesday. And our kids did a great job of staying in the moment all year long, and not looking ahead at things, and being work ethic they had during the practice was amazing. And of course, so was our coaches. And I'll take our coaches against anybody's coaches in the country. And just the way things are ran and broke down and prepared, our preparation is second to none. It doesn't matter if it's pro or college or another high school team. We do a fantastic job, and those kids gravitate towards that. They love that. It's more information you get, the hungrier they get to apply it, and it's really fun to watch them when they do that.
Well, part of that is they go into games knowing that they've got a little bit of an advantage because there's nothing that other team's going to run that's
Right.
going to surprise them.
Not one time all year.
Then the other thing, there's a couple things I wanted to touch on too before we get to the final segment of this. But what was it like when you were coming back into town?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Starting with Monday night and then Sunday.
Well, Monday night, it was a late night, and we came into town, and the sirens were going off. The firemen showed up, and we went through town, and it was kind of cool. The next day, I got all kinds of different calls and text messages going, man, we didn't know what was going on. we thought maybe it was a fire, but it was just you guys coming in town. So the support that we get from the community was amazing.
Yeah.
And not only that game, but obviously when we came back on that Sunday, the parade started early.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got on the 116, and it was when you have people that it matters as much as it does in this community for athletics. It's really cool to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. And when you can do something that's never been done before, as in the first time down at state in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And
that one will always be special.
Yeah, because now next year when we go, it's just gonna be old hat.
Now, Coach, you've been in big game situations like that, with other schools and whatnot, and you've shared stories of how you've kind of had to, crack a few jokes with the guys to kind of really, cut that pressure. And
Right.
did you ever have to do that with this group here, especially going into that big game?
We did it all the time. Somebody does something stupid. I go, hey, you're off the team. Turn in your stuff. Clean out your locker. But little things like that just take the edge off. But we tell them all the time. This is not a life or death situation. You're going to go out there and play, and we're going to play not with a grimace on our face, with a smile on our face, because we're about to have fun. We're doing something that we love, and that's kind of how we look at it. And so yeah, there's plenty of jokers in the locker room that and it's not just the top 5 or 6 or 7. We dressed out 15, and some of the coaches are pretty good jokers too. So we try to keep it light and try to keep it as real as we could.
The last person I kind of want to talk a little bit about, because Bridget Nealon, it's kind of your teen mom.
Right.
Got all your food ready, went and got it for you while you were in Champaign, got a lot of things organized for you. Her son graduates,
Right.
so you're gonna have to find a new team mom this year.
She's been amazing. You know, she's been the team mom, but now with that, she's in charge of all of our fundraisers and in charge of everything that we had to do with our tournament. You know, and it's an everyday grind. Then she sets up all the concession stand workers, and you know, so it's going to take about 4 people to take her spot. Is what is going to happen.
Yeah, she did an awfully good job, and you know, I saw some of the meals. I went with them to pick up some of the meals for you guys, and
Right.
Friday night and Saturday night, and the deals she would finagle to
Right.
get the stuff. But man, did you guys eat well?
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Coach, why don't we take a little break here, and we'll come back, and we're going to talk about some of the 5 seniors you had on your team this year.
Sounds good.
Maybe tomorrow is gonna be a perfect day. Maybe tomorrow it'll be a perfect day.
Welcome back to the Danny Grieves Show. Scott Kirker, Colton Kaler, along with Coach Danny Grieves, and we'll go ahead with our 5 seniors here. And we've got Luke DeFrames, our first senior coach. You know, what can you say about him?
Well, he's a guy that's all the way in. He's one of the best shooters in the state. He's a kid that, you know, his junior year he was all conference, and this year he didn't get quite as much time on the court during games like I'm sure he wanted, but he was so valuable as a guy that was in the locker room and in practice and on the scout team. You know, we had everybody just kind of buy in and be a star in their role. And his role changed a little bit this year, but he was still the same kind of star.
Coach, you know, it is tough when a guy's all conference as a junior. Then the senior year, it was just circumstance really that
Right.
caused him to not get as much time. But you always saw him, you know, when there'd be a timeout, he'd be the first guy out onto the
Right.
floor to congratulate the kid coming off the floor. To win, you've got to have guys like him.
Right. He was bought in, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he's so knowledgeable also, you know. And during practice or even timeout or whatever, as he's talking to kids about different things that goes on, and he has great IQ for basketball.
Our next senior is Solomon Schwartz, and behind us you'll see arguably one of the greatest basketball plays you might ever see, and something that I'm sure that he'll remember for a very long time, Coach.
I watched that play last week, but he's an amazing kid. You know, he's so athletic. Unfortunately for him this year, he was injured most of the year. And then when he got healthy, you know, he brought so much energy on the scout team. You know, he whipped our tail for 2-3 days in a row while we're trying to get prepared for other teams, and we couldn't guard him. And so, you know, when you talk about guys that you know are really valuable to the program, you know, even though he didn't get much playing time this year, especially down the stretch, he was great. What a team guy, you know, all year long.
Again, another player like him that you have to have, those
Right.
senior guys that, you know, come out every day to win, and sacrificed a little bit of playing time, and those guys are invaluable.
If you don't guard him really hard in practice, he can make you look really bad. And that's what he brought to the table for us again this year.
Now I want to take us back, you know, about a full year or so. You watch that play and just that moment, I mean, just the ability for you guys to draw that up, you've practiced it, and then to finally pull it off. I mean, what's that like not only for you as a coach, but for him as a player?
Well, when you throw it off the rim on a free throw, I think it was Swanson that got the rebound and kicked it to the corner, and he nailed it. And what I loved was the reaction. You know, he went right to the camera and made a great face and kept on running. But, you know, when you have a plan and something comes together like that, you know, was it a great play? Was it luck? It's probably a little of both.
You know, I got to say, the last 2 years of watching Solomon on the football field and on the basketball court, he's just got a knack for finding the camera. I don't know what it is.
And making big plays. He really does.
He does.
He does. That was he was a great player to have on your basketball team.
Yeah, it was.
Our next senior is Kaiser Quick, and Coach, you know, when I was going through looking for video here, I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't have his best game of the year at Pekin, where he picks up 4 charges.
Without those 4 charges, we wouldn't have won that game. I mean, you talk about a game changer and momentum changer. You know, his nickname was Rodzilla. And, you know, his ability to play hard and go after rebounds and take charges and doing all the little things that a team needs to have done, you know, he was such a big part of our success this year.
You know, I thought that here's a guy that last year as a junior didn't get a lot of time.
Right.
Worked hard, came in and gave you minutes when you needed minutes most.
Well, he was always undersized. He was probably guarding the other guy's biggest player when he came in, and he just brought some toughness and strength to our program.
There were times on the floor he really helped you.
He sure did.
You know, you look at a guy who, you know, kind of probably through his first 2 years of high school thought, you know, baseball might be the option, and gets a chance his junior year to play with you guys and just to see how he blossomed into the player that he was.
Well, and he didn't know if he was going to come back out his senior year. I'm so glad that he did, because here again, you know, you talk about a guy starting his role. You know, he was tremendous in what he was bringing to the table, and he knew he wasn't a big scorer, but when he did score, he had a blast doing it. But you just watch him when he plays. He plays with a lot of energy and a smile on his face. He loves to compete.
Our next senior, Jake Nealon, and the Nealon family that's so familiar to this program.
Right.
I mean, you can't speak enough about Jake.
Jake is amazing. You know, when you talk about players trying to hit their ceiling on what God has given them, you know, and how hard it's going to be in order to get there as far as work ethic goes, nobody outworked Jake. And, you know, there was so many times this year in big games that we had to have him come in and make plays, whether they be defensively or offensively. And, you know, it's amazing to watch a guy work as hard as he did and bring to the table what he did, because, you know what, he's another guy, you look at him and you go, this guy can't do much. And another guy that was starring his role, whether it be in big games with only a few minutes, when somebody get in foul trouble, big minutes, and he was always raring to go. One of the guys that are in the locker room and on the bench, that is just a great teammate and makes everybody else better.
You know, Jake started, I think, 21 games for you this year. Had a guard. A lot of times he had a guard, you know, the other team's big guys, and there were some big guys this year.
Just huge.
And, you know, a lot of times he was outsized. But, you know, he'd get that knee up underneath him, and he'd push him out of that low block. And, you know, it was you needed that physicality, and he was the guy that gave it to you.
He never wavered on that challenge, because he was, you know, 4 or 5 inches shorter than the guy in some of those big games, and probably 50 pounds lighter. And but you know, he plays with a great toughness.
Yeah, he did.
Gets it from his mom.
You know, you look at Jake, a guy that you can throw in a lot of different situations, and you know he'll be all right. I mean, just the amount of roles that he played this year, I think can speak to what the type of player that he is.
Yes, there's no doubt.
Our last senior and the Journal Star Player of the Year, Zach Schroeder. I mean, Coach, we could talk all day about this guy. Not only, you know, his play, but just his heart.
Well, I'll tell you what, he was our heart and soul the last 3 years, especially the last 2 years as a captain. When he was not on the floor, we were obviously not as good. We saw that his junior year, and we saw it again his senior year. You know, we started out 0-3. A lot of that had to do with him getting hurt in the second quarter of our first game. And you know, when he came back, and you could just really tell he was back to his old Zach self. I really thought at that point, you know, he's a great leader. If the rest of them will follow, then we have a chance to maybe go all the way, and that's kind of what happened.
You know, and every coach talks about this, that, you know, every year when you have a lot of success, there's always 1 or 2 kids that, and they're really special. And that's part of the deal, though, is that they're only going to be with you for 4 years. And Zach Schroeder will probably go down as one of those guys when you think back. And that was one of the players that kind of helped get Metamora over the hump. All these seniors did. They all stuck it out. They all played hard. They're the backbone that's gotten you to where you are now. And Zach was kind of the leader of that group.
Zach is the leader of that. There was other people in the area. You know, Player of the Year for Journal Star is a big thing in my mind. and he was very deserving. There was others that was probably more athletic than him. There was others that probably had better numbers than him, but nobody did a better job of leading our team, and we went the farthest. And so when you talk about a guy that was still first or second in all the categories that you want the player of the year to be in, but I didn't see anybody in the area that we played that did as good a job of being a coach on the floor as Zach Schroeder, and that's has a lot to do with our success for this season.
Yeah, it was a great group of kids. You've got 5 seniors. You've got a lot of kids coming back next year. But when you look back on this season, and this is kind of going to put you on the spot here a little bit, but when you look back on this season, and what's the thing you're going to remember most about these group of kids? Not that they won 30 games or they got second in the state, but what's the thing you're going to remember about them?
They gritted through a tough season. I told them at the beginning of the year, and I told the parents too, it's going to be one of the toughest seasons you've ever had. It's going to be one of the greatest seasons you've ever had. All right, the trials and tribulations that you're going to go through is going to be amazing. All right, and you're not going to like me and each other at times, especially me. All right, but if you can just stay the course and do the things that we ask, and try to plow through, the COVID and plow through the injuries, if you can do that, good things can happen. And we had all those things, and so probably the resilience that this team finally showed. And right after Christmas, we kind of got it together, and we were doing better, and we happened to get beat by Washington, but that was kind of a fluke. We still weren't quite on track, even though mentally I think we were, as far as mending our fences and having a better team. And to start with, we weren't 5 fingers in a fist. We had a couple kids that they had their own little clique. They had their own little clique. By the end of the season, there was no clique. There was just one team. And when you have a team that loves each other as much as this team does, and we always talk about our basketball family. Our basketball family was as strong this year as any team I've ever had here. And that goes to the coaches drilling into them every day, but it also goes back to the players of accepting it. And I told our parents, we'll do that quicker if you can talk about positive things at your dinner table and at the kitchen table. I said, because when you can do that, all right, then we don't have as many problems. Everybody's going to have to sacrifice a little bit for the betterment of the team. And when everybody kind of figured out, okay, I'll give up this and I'll give up this for the betterment of the team, I think it really made us stronger, and that helped us make our 18-game run as far as wins go.
Yeah, it was up there, and just looking back throughout the year, sometimes it's the little things that you'll remember. I mean, one of the biggest things from this year is that 19-0 run at Limestone. I think that's going to stick out to me. Just the toughness that we showed at Washington, and just it's really the little things that I think when you look back, obviously the way the season ended, it's gonna hurt. It always will. The
5 points in the last 9 seconds up at Hyde Park. How cool was that?
Exactly, and it's I think as time goes on, you'll start to remember the little things that really made the season what it was.
Coach, and I want to thank Colton for helping this year. He did a great job. I think Tom Hagan, son Neil, Daryl Galandri, and
I had a great staff.
Great staff. Your coaching staff was phenomenal. Thank the parents of these kids who were there, through thick and thin, and mostly some thick, really great times.
Right.
But I want to thank you for being there for every interview, for every time we needed to talk to you, for taking us on a wild ride. That was.
How much fun was that?
It was a great ride, and the fact that it brought a community of Metamora and Germantown, that sports family, it brought the communities together, brought a lot of civic pride. And it was when you were on the square both that Monday night and then that Sunday morning, and watching all those people. There was a lot of people that came out to watch you guys come back. And, that was
a blast.
That was pretty special.
Yeah.
And I want to also thank Jared Hart, I thought he did a great job down in Champaign.
Sure did.
Helping you guys out and everything.
It takes a lot of prep and a lot of work.
It did.
He did a nice job.
He did a really nice job. And, thank all the people that put together that celebration up at the high school.
Right.
That was really nice.
That was sweet.
That was really nice. And there's gonna be more of those, and probably next year. There's no pressure, but
Yeah, I heard we'll go next year if we get any kind of coaching at all. So.
Well, Coach, again, thank you for a great season, and
I'd like to thank you guys. Man, it's amazing working with y'all. Guys behind the camera too. We're so lucky to be in this position, to have you guys follow us around and do those kind of things. And it's kind of like now it's a Redbird nation. We hear from people from California and New York and Dallas, Texas, and Gainesville, Florida, that have watched some of your shows and some of the stuff. And now we got a heck of a following because the interest that you've shown and the quality of job you've done. So I really would like to thank you myself.
Appreciate that. I want to thank MTCO and Mark Goodyear and Bobby Kraft and Kip Dubois for everything they've done to help make this possible. And it's going to be a fun sports year next year.
I think so.
That'll do it. We'll see you next fall. Redbird Replay.
It's gonna happen. Redbird fans getting pumped up here. And for the first time in program history, Metamora is going to state. Redbirds are going to Champaign.
Wow, this is just unbelievable, Colt. We'll be back in just a few minutes with a chat with happy head coach Danny Grieves and the final stats. Wow, Colton, I don't know what to say.
We'll step aside. We'll be back.